In the headlines, Jos physically challenged persons lament non-inclusion in election exercises. Water shortage worries villagers in Ingawa local government area of Katsina State. Security operatives kill 3 IPOB members in Imo, foils attack on police station. Away from Nigeria, Senegal opposition leader Ousmane Sonko to face trial over rape charges. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. Disabled persons in Jos, the Plateau State capital, have expressed displeasure over the non-inclusion of their members in political campaigns in the state. Members of the group who spoke with Ado Musa in Jos said that despite neglected, they are ready to vote during this year's general elections. The report.
According to some of the persons with disabilities, this year's election is not the only electioneering period that politicians in the state have kept them out of the campaigns. They lamented that at every election period, politicians took their campaigns to different communities and organizations in order to canvass for votes, but ignored them. Majority of the blind men in Jos have their PVCs. Both men and women among us have collected our PVCs and we are ready to vote during the election. Although we, like every other person, have our permanent voter cards, we are however surprised that none of the politicians has visited us to canvass for our votes. I have collected my PVC. I have never missed election in this country, and I will not miss this one. I want to participate in the election because I am hoping to have someone who will look into my plight. I want to vote because I'm a citizen of this country. Virtually all the politicians seem not to know our relevance in the country's politics. Candidates of all political parties are going round to all nooks and crannies of the country to seek for votes, but none has come to us. But whoever identifies with us will have the advantage of additional votes from our members. They, however, said they won't be reluctant to participate in the upcoming elections, despite being relegated to the background, adding that they will support whoever they believe will address their challenges. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Young Nigerians are seeking for equal opportunity for youths in government as the 2023 general elections draws closer. Noel Samson reports that youth groups in unison made the call in Abuja.
The updated voters register presented to the political parties by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) shows that the youth constitute the highest majority of the voting population. Few weeks to election, youths across the country have come together to ask for equal opportunity in running affairs of the country, saying they have been sidelined for so long.
In terms of representation, we said at this point the ages of positions for some of these electoral positions have been reduced. But despite so, you find out that there are very little of young people that are practically vying for this position. That shows that there's another issue, which when you look at issue of costs of political forms today is extreme. When you look at even the politics and the money play that goes around election of candidates to represent these parties, even at the local government level.
For example, before this election that we're going into now, before the campaigns and all that, to get the tickets for political parties was really very expensive. They run in hundreds of millions. A youth is a young person who is just starting up his life. Where would a youth get that amount of money to buy, forms to run for such political cities? So that's a kind of sideline.
They also want open communication and initiate dialogue for accountability with all the presidential candidates in the upcoming election.
The youths will need to understand that we hold the power of voting. We can make anybody president and we can make anybody governor and we can deny anybody from getting it. This is the strength we have. But we need to say that to ourselves. That's why we called ourselves together in love, in agreement, calling on other youth leaders all over the country and students.
We, the youths of this nation, have had enough. That is why we must yarn. We are tired and we have tried. We must use our numbers to speak with one voice.
Nigeria youth were also tasked to obtain their voters card and actively participate in the forthcoming elections. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, residents of Santarar Nachalu in Ingawa local government area of Katsina State are experiencing shortage of potable drinking water. The community solely depends on pond as the only source of water for drinking and other domestic purposes. Abdullahi Amadi meets residents, including women and children, struggling to fetch water from the only pond available.
Santar Nachalu is a community with a population of over 7,000 people, but facing water shortage over the last 3 decades. Residents say they are tired of several unfulfilled promises by successive administrations of Ingawa Local Government Council of providing potable water to the community. The residents said they have had their high hopes thwarted and are worried over numerous reports of waterborne diseases. As a resident of Santar Nachalu, I can tell you without any contradiction, our number 1, 2, 3 problems are perennial water shortage. Similarly, many residents complained of shoddy execution of boreholes contracts, which often end up without providing water. Our children are forced to abandon school to search for water. We have some people who have commercial water points. We appeal to the state government to come to our aid. They, however, acknowledged the fencing of the pond by the local government council some years ago and called for its dredging to reserve more water. Observers blamed the failure of local government system to function effectively, leading to infrastructure deficits at the grassroots. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And over in the southeast, 3 members of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra were killed on Wednesday when an armed affiliate, Eastern Security Network, attempted to attack Agua police station in Oguta, local government area of Imo State. Now, the police public relations officer, PPRO CSP Mike Abatam, who confirmed the incident, in a statement said that the hoodlums had successfully attacked the Agua Central Vigilante Group office, where it was set ablaze, but as they were about to attack the police station, they were repelled. The PPRO said that when the information got to the police, the command's tactical group immediately mobilized to the area where the police engaged the hoodlums in a fierce gun duel, and in the process, 3 of the hoodlums were neutralized, while others escaped to nearby bushes with various degrees of gunshot wounds, abandoning 3 of their operational vehicles. The PPRO said that the police combed the area and recovered a number of items: 2 pump-action guns, 2 double-barrel guns, 24 rounds of live ammunition, 12 expended cartridges, and improvised explosive devices, among other things. Hoodlums dressed in military uniforms have abducted 4 tipper drivers from a farm in Ilorin, the state capital, where they went to excavate sand for supply to their customers last Saturday. The police public relations officer in the state, Ajayi Okasami, confirmed the abduction on Wednesday. Okasami, who said that the victims were yet to be rescued as of Wednesday, said that 2 suspects had been arrested and were helping the police in their investigation. The 4 abductees are members of the Oyun Garage branch of the Association of Quarry and Sand Dealers, Ilorin. Reports say that the kidnappers had already contacted their families and placed 5 million naira ransom on each of them, Meanwhile, some women who claim to be wives of the drivers on Wednesday in Oyo area, Kwara State Polytechnic Road, Ilorin, took to the street to solicit for arms from commuters and passers-by to raise the ransom. The Edo State government has said that 2 traditional rulers and 5 other persons have been arrested in connection with the kidnapping of 20 passengers from the Igwebe train station in Edo State on January 7. The Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Chris Nehikare, disclosed this in Benin while briefing journalists shortly after the State Executive Council meeting. He added that 2 persons remaining in captivity of the kidnappers had been rescued by security agencies. Gunmen had attacked passengers waiting to board a train from the Igwebe station in Igwebe local government area of Edo State to Warri in Delta State on Saturday, January 7, and abducted no fewer than 32 persons.
So, kidnapping. We're pleased to announce that the last 2 victims have been rescued, and 7 suspects in custody, including 2 village chiefs. So we want to thank the press for the support they gave us in the last 1 week, at least, the last 1.5 weeks on this hostage. The way you've managed the information, the way you've reported it, Edo State government is grateful, and we thank you very much.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has called for a reinforcement of security formations in the entirety of Edo State, particularly the Central Senatorial District, to forestall kidnappings and eradicate other acts of criminality, particularly in Esa land. This follows a motion moved by Honorable Sagas Ogun on the floor of the House during plenary. The motion is concerned with the spate of kidnappings, armed robbery attacks, and insecurity generally in the country, which is causing fear and apprehension among residents. The House thereafter observed a minute of silence in honor of the deceased police officer, DSP Michael Adams, who paid the supreme sacrifice while in active service. It also mandated its committees on Army and Police Affairs to ensure compliance and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action.
The House is convinced that the setting up of a police mobile force base and a Nigerian Army barracks / forward operating base (FOB) within Edo Central Senatorial District will go a long way in weeding off perpetrators of crimes and criminality from Esa land and Edo State in general. The House resolves: 1. Observe a minute of silence in honor of the deceased police officer, DSP Michael Adams, who paid the supreme sacrifice while in active service.
You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at how weeds compete with road users in Osun State. Details of this and more after the break.
Daily Trust presents 20th Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Interrogating the 2023 Presidential Agenda. Panelists:
Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, former Chairman, First Bank of Nigeria.
Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, Professor of Political Science and member of the Board of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. Dr. Yetunde Anibaba, Lecturer, Analysis of Business Problems, Lagos Business School. Dr. Eugene Enahoro, Human Capacity Development Specialist and CEO, Heltoni Services Limited.
Chairman of the event, John Cardinal Onaikon, Archbishop Emeritus of Abuja.
Date: Thursday, 25th January 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: NAF Conference Center and Suites, Gwarimpa Expressway, near Next Shopping Mall, Kado, Abuja. For sponsorship and branding participation, contact 081 00 49 1948, 081 65 32 0660, or 080 33 92 8902. The event will be broadcast live on Trust TV.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back from that break. This is the news update on Trust Television. Here's a look at the top stories again. Jos physically challenged persons lament non-inclusion in election exercise. Plus, water shortage worries villagers in Ingawa local government area of Katsina State. Now, about 25 persons have been killed by diphtheria infection outbreak in Kano as of last Friday. Reports say that the child killer disease, which was first noticed in Kano late last year, is being treated as an outbreak presently at Murtala Muhammad Specialist Hospital and Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital. Now, in Kano, the disease, which is contagious, was first noticed from Ungogo local government area of Kano. According to records of Kano State Ministry of Health, 58 suspected cases of the disease was documented, 6 were on admission and 25 patients died of diphtheria infection as at January 13, 2023. Medical experts say that diphtheria infection is a serious infection of the nose and throat that is easily preventable by vaccine. According to the experts, the signs and symptoms of diphtheria may include a sore throat, hoarseness, swollen glands, enlarged lymph nodes in the neck, difficulty breathing or rapid breathing, nasal discharge, fever, and tiredness. Away from that, Justice Inyang Eko of the Federal High Court Abuja has struck out a suit instituted against President Muhammadu Buhari challenging the alleged lopsidedness in appointments into the Niger Delta Development Commission. The suit, instituted by an Abuja-based businesswoman and NDDC stakeholder, Rita Ogbebo, was struck out by the court on the grounds that the plaintiff has no legal right to have instituted the case. Delivering judgment, Justice Eko held that Section 2 of the NDDC Act 2000 was specific that any legal action on any infraction in matters relating to NDDC can only be instituted by corporate persons and not individuals like the plaintiff. The judge held that the law was clear that the power to file any case to challenge infractions in the NDDC cannot be delegated by proxy to anyone. The plaintiff had, among other things, prayed for an order compelling Buhari to appoint an Isekiri indigene from the oil-producing areas of Delta State as the managing director of the NDDC. In a similar vein, Justice Inyang Eko of the Federal High Court Abuja has fixed April the 5th for judgment in a 27-count fraud charges brought against a former head of service of the Federation, Stephen Oronsanye, by the federal government. The judge fixed the date after the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Oronsanye, and others adopted their final addresses for and against the case. While adopting his final brief of arguments through his counsel, Ade Okenya Ine Esea, the former head of service of the Federation, asked the court to dismiss the entire charges against him on the ground that they lacked evidence and merit. However, counsel to the EFCC, Oluwaleke Atolagbe, prayed that the court to convict the defendants based on the evidence adduced by 21 witnesses who testified in the matter. Justice Eko, after taking arguments, fixed April 5th to deliver his judgment. Now, there is a growing concern among residents of Osun State over the presence of overgrown wheat on roadsides in most parts of the state. Residents express worry as it poses hazardous threats to people plying the roads amidst growing security concerns and hazy weather conditions. Hamid Oyegbade reports.
Several safety measures are put in place to prevent road users, pedestrians, cyclists and motorists from being killed or injured while plying roads. Traffic signs and road surface markings convey useful information and instructions to drivers to guide their decisions and actions. But when weeds and trees take over the roadway median and road shoulder, they cover the traffic signs and road surface markings, posing danger to road users. In Osun State, residents lamented that weeds and trees have grown on roadsides, preventing drivers from having clear view of the road signs.
Armed robbers, bandits and all these kidnappers could hide very, close to the main road, throw anything on the road to cause confusion for the driver, and in the process they attack them. They abduct people, lead them into the bush.
If there is drainage beside the road, the driver won't be able to see that there is drainage beside the road. So it's very difficult and it can cause waste of life. So I want to appeal to the state government, the local government and the individual to look into it and find a lasting solution to it.
It's a very, very dangerous thing, especially for drivers. Like, it obstructs their views a lot and it's very, very prone to accidents.
The sector commander of the Federal Road Safety Commission in Osun State, Paul Okpe, said the commission is carrying out advocacy to government agencies to find permanent solution to the problem.
And one of our advocacy that we embarked on earlier when we came in here was about the clearance of vegetation, which will have continued to happen. In meeting with the traditional rulers, the Oni of Ife, and many of them, even the governor, the then governor, and all stakeholders, especially those at the Ministry of Environment, we told them the need to ensure that we have our roads free of overgrown vegetation.
Traffic accidents are among the most dangerous global threats to people's health and life. Therefore, governments at all levels, relevant agencies and communities should collaborate to ensure safety of vehicle operators and passengers and pedestrians by making the roads safe. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
Now, away from Nigeria, Senegalese opposition leader Ousmane Sonko will face trial on charges of rape and making death threats to a beauty salon employee in 2021. Sonko's lawyer did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but the 48-year-old politician has previously denied all the charges. A trial could jeopardize intention of Sonko, who came third in the 2019 election, to compete in the 2024 presidential election. It could also stoke political tensions in the Senegal. Now, clashes broke out in the country in March 2021 when Sonko was initially summoned by the investigation judge and arrested. Sonko is accused of sexually assaulting a woman who worked in a massage parlor and later threatening her. He and his backers say that the trial is politically motivated to eliminate him from the presidential race. And in sports news, one person was killed and dozens injured Thursday when a stampede broke out outside a football stadium in Iraq hours before the Gulf Cup final, officials said. Long banned from hosting international football matches, war-torn Iraq had been counting on the Gulf Cup to burnish its image, but it had already been forced to apologize for organizational lapses. Thousands of fans, many without tickets, had gathered outside the stadium in Iraq's main southern city of Basra since dawn in the hope of watching the final between Iraq and Oman, which was due to kick off at 7 p.m. An Interior Ministry official gave the same toll. Now, an AFP photographer outside the stadium said that the turnstiles were still closed when the stampede broke out. Sirens blared as ambulances arrived to ferry the injured to the hospital. That's a wrap on Trust News Update. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. Join us again. I am Ayuba Ilya. Bye for now.